आज भदौ 24 गते माननीय विश्वेश्वर प्रसाद कोइराला नेपालको पहिलो निर्वाचित प्रधानमन्त्रीज्यूको जन्मदिनको अवसर साथै बीपी कोइराला इन्स्टिच्युट अफ हेल्थ साइन्सको स्थापना भएको मिति
रहेर 2049 साल 5 गते 2093 18 गते स्थापित यो इन्स्टिच्युट आजभन्दा 31 वर्ष पहिले स्थापना भएको कुरा हामी सबैलाई थाहा भएको कुरा हो र यो मात्र एउटा नन प्र्याक्टिसिङ इन्स्टिच्युटको रूपमा स्टाब्लिस
Thank you, sir. Chief guest and orator, Professor Dr Vivekanand Jha, a renowned nephrologist and academician whose contribution to global healthcare has been exceptional. Respected Rector, sir, Professor Dr Sanjeev Kumar Sharma, a visionary academic leader at BPKIHS.
हेलो गाइस, आज चाहिँ हामी 31st बीपी कोइराला इन्स्टिच्युट अफ हेल्थ साइन्सको एनिभर्सरीमा आएका छौँ र 22nd बीपी कोइराला मेमोरियल ओरेसन होइन मेरो टिमहरू
doctor as they say. So I will use examples from my own work, which is both in the clinical practice and research related to the field of kidney disease, to illustrate some of the points that I want to make during this presentation. So let's start by just looking at the basics. If I were to, but most of you are below the age of 60. right? When we are young, we think ourselves to be recognized, or most of them. If not as healthcare professional, as a family member, they don't have access to any regular medical clinic, right? So this diabetes will progress silently, and it basically makes the point that you don't develop symptoms when you have diabetes or when you have hypertension or when you have kidney disease. So this is a study called the PURE study, which was done around the world, and basically it just makes the point that even for high risk conditions like coronary heart disease and cerebrovascular disease, this study categorized people on whether they were receiving no drug, one drug, more drug, and the biggest or the tallest bars are always in the no drug category. So this is high income countries. So in high income countries, relatively fewer people were not receiving any treatment. But as you go down the income category, upper middle income country, lower middle income country, low income country, the proportion of people who are not receiving any treatment continues to grow. So this is something for us to think, receive no treatment whatsoever. What are some of the reasons for this? Most high-risk people live in resource-poor regions. So in upper middle income countries, there are about 80 million people who are high-income countries. There are about 80 million people with these conditions, whereas in low and lower middle income countries, the number of people with these conditions is more than 3 times, right, 250 million. But the amount of money which is available to treat these individuals is strikingly different. So for 80 million people, you have $100 billion available in high-income countries, whereas for low-income countries, for 250 billion, you have less than $20 billion. So there is a gross discrepancy between what is needed and what is available in different parts of the world. And this is what is called inequity, which is different from the word inequality. So inequity refers to the fact that there are differences in different parts of the world, but these differences are unjust and unfair. So it's the issue of justice and fairness that we are talking about here. There is something called inequality in which everyone should receive the same thing, right? So everyone should start from the same start line when they are going to run a 100-meter race. That is equality. Everyone is equal. But for inequity, you have to look at what is just and what is fair. So that's something which is very important. The second difference, one is the availability of finances. The second is also the availability of medical workforce. And that's something where B.P Koirala Institute of Health Sciences is doing so much to contribute, right, to improve the medical workforce. It's not only doctors, but also paramedical professionals, nurses, technicians, and other staff that silently work in the background. Unmet need, there is inadequate workforce, there are inadequate resources, there is great variation in the quality of care. As you saw, many people are not receiving any treatment. I did not even talk about what kind of treatment is given. Often the treatment is inappropriate, there is poor quality care, inappropriate medicines are given, all that is a separate story, right? And the treatment that is required is high cost relative to the ability of pay. In that regard, the government of Nepal is more progressive than many other countries in the sense that it often provides high cost care, free of cost, such as dialysis, to its population. So that's pretty good in Nepal, right? Global disease, and we know that in now all over the world, almost about 1 in every 10 individual has some degree of chronic kidney disease, early stage chronic kidney disease. So the prevalence of chronic kidney disease is about 10% in the population. What is even more worrying about kidney disease is that unlike other chronic conditions such as ischemic heart disease, stroke, and obstructive respiratory diseases, whose mortality is coming down regularly because we are introducing effective public health measures to reduce the burden of these conditions, the mortality due to kidney disease is continuing to go up. So what does it mean? It means that the burden of kidney disease will continue to increase in future. Many of you may be aware that when the kidney disease progresses and the kidneys have, but what we need to know is what are the most important killers, what are the most important causes of death and disability in our community. not in United States, but in Nepal, in India, right? And we need to focus our effort in those regions. You can see that the overall prevalence of kidney disease is about 6%. This data was, a lot of work was done in this institution. Professor Sanjeev Kumar Sharma is one of the senior authors on this paper. And you can see what are the factors. And what does again it mean, the factors associated with kidney disease? These are not medical factors, some of them, you know. For example, old age, it's not a medical factor. All of us will age, right? Then you have also a social factor, caste, right? So this represents the fellows or who contributes to development of infrastructure in Middle Eastern countries. It is labor that goes from South Asia, from India, from Nepal, from Bangladesh. Many of these people work in that region in very high temperatures, 50 degrees, 55 degrees, etc. It is well known that exposure to constant heat for long periods of time induces dehydration. Dehydration reduces blood flows to the kidneys, and it causes, when it happens for a day or two, you know, we will recover from it. But if it happens for months together, someone is exposed to this, their kidneys are not able to. So there are multiple studies which showed that returned Nepali workers were developing kidney disease who had gone to Middle East apparently to make good life for themselves. They went there with the hope they will earn money, they will come back, and perhaps their lives will improve. But what happened? They came back with kidney disease. So instead of their lives improving, there was actually a ruinous effect on those lives. And so again, this is work that has come out of Nepal, which talks about this exact same problem. Then we have migrants, right? And the same kind of migrants, again, Dr. Sanjeev Sharma and others have recently published this piece about the health of out of every 10 people who had kidney disease did not know that they had kidney disease. So there is a great unawareness, lack of awareness about kidney disease in the population, but also in the doctors. If you go and survey the primary care doctors and ask them what are the investigations that you should do for your patients, they will not think of doing kidney disease investigations, right? So there is something which is important for all of you who are here, not only doctors but also nurses, because often the first point of contact in these primary health centers in India are nurses, or not even nurses but frontline healthcare workers. In India, that cadre of workers is called ASHA because they are living through climate change, and we can predict for sure that because of this, the burden of kidney disease will increase in the next few years. You know, this is about describing the burden, but it's not all doom and gloom. We have also made a lot of progress in the last 10 years or so in figuring out how to paper-based checklist. We realized that healthcare workers who were given a checklist were actually better, not the same, but better than primary healthcare physicians in identifying the right kind of clinical decision support systems, build into it the right referral mechanisms, where does the patient go if they are so just leaving the patient at any one point is just a no-no. We can't simply say, now you're on your own. We have to have some solution for it. And in the end, the approach that we all take must be a user-centered approach. Very important. We often look at a problem from our perspective. We need to that the two here and the contribution that you're making to Nepalese healthcare system. Thank you very much.
Anniversary celebration of BPKIHS